everyone, my name is Jill Postma and I am the 4-H coordinator for Iowa State University Extension and Outreach in Lyon County. Today is the second of 3 virtual learning projects for the youth of Lyon County. The second project I am going to demonstrate making is a painted wall sign, similar to this one and this one. The instructions for this project are, you will be given an instruction sheet in your kit that you received. If you are looking to duplicate this and you did not sign up for the kit, that is no problem. Materials included for this kit are a 1x12x12 wood backing sign, and for this project you could cut any type of size if you wanted to, a vinyl stencil, a sanding block, tacky cloth, gloves, foam brushes, and you'll need 2 for this project, one for the stain, one for the paint. Wood stain. For this project we're using just an interior paint primer combo. You could also use like a chalk paint or acrylic paint, any type of paint would work. I also included stir sticks for your paint. The kids received paint in these little plastic cups. There's some stir sticks. And for safety while sanding, goggles are always a good choice to keep that dust out of your eyes. A couple of things that were not included in the kit were some lint-free cloth needed for the sanding and cleaning of the wiping off stain. And also on the front of the page is some important tips and tricks. Read all directions and watch video before beginning. Wear old clothing and use a table cover on a workspace. Paint and stain are permanent. Remember safety equipment, goggles, and gloves. Gather all of your supplies before beginning. Create in a space that can be utilized all day, as there are drying times in between the steps. And we hope that you will have fun while doing the project. Included in the project are, in the kit, are the helpful tips and tricks, the step-by-step instructions for the project, the home improvement hot sheet from Iowa 4-H, and the home improvement exhibits tip sheet through Iowa 4-H. And I also included in the kit an updated 4-H exhibit goal label that also has the elements and principles of design to look for when creating a project on the back. Assisting me today is Lyon County 4-H'er Kiana. Kiana has done some 4-H home improvement and visual arts projects throughout the years. Some of which had the opportunity to be judged at the state fair. We thank her for assisting us today with this demonstration. Let's get started. Our first step is to sand the wood pieces. Before sanding, you will want to put on safety goggles. The sanding block, you always want to remember to sand with the grain. And when we say with the grain, if you see your lumber has lines in it, you want to always sand with the grain back and forth. You want to make sure that your edges are also sanded really well. If you have access to a hand sander, this is also a great woodworking tool to get started with your learning how to use woodworking hand tools. A hand sander you would also use in the same way as a wood block or sandpaper. You want to go with the grain and also be sure to get the edges. When finished sanding and your lumber or wood is smooth to the touch, you will want to remove the dust from the wood with a damp, lint-free cloth. Always apply oil-based stained outdoors or in a well-ventilated area. Materials needed for staining wood is the wood stain, gloves, a lint-free cloth, and a tack-free cloth. You will also want to put down plastic or cardboard to protect your work surface area. You'll want to stir the stain in the can before using. Don't shake the stain can. Apply stain with a foam brush or apply with a lint-free cloth or rag and rub into the wood. There are different techniques that you can use. The technique we are doing is using a foam brush to brush on, and then we will wipe the excess stain off. You always want to apply the stain with the grain of the wood and use a second lint-free rag to wipe excess stain. If you want a richer or deeper color, apply a second coat after the first coat has dried, which is about 3 to 4 hours depending on the stain used. So always follow the directions of the stain can. Some staining tips: avoid staining in hot temperatures and direct sunlight, as this will make your stain dry too quickly. Stain takes longer to dry and doesn't dry as well in more humid conditions, as well as very cold temps. Try to stain when there is less humid and temps outside are moderate. Make sure to always wipe excess stain off wood and don't let any excess dry on the wood, as you will have it will be unbalanced. And you always want to make sure that when you're staining, you finish your edges and sides. The stain we are using today is a dark walnut. This is where youth can get creative when staining and creating this project. They can really use any colors that they want to mix and match depending on the room that they are creating the project for. The next step with the stain is to wipe off with a lint-free cloth. The cloth we are using is just an old bed sheet. You can use an old white t-shirt, anything that you can throw when finished. This isn't something that you have to go out and buy special materials for. I want to make sure that the stain was all applied evenly. The next step is the vinyl stencil application. For this step, you will need a vinyl stencil, hard plastic straight edge, and a tacky cloth. Wipe the stained wood with tacky cloth to make sure there is no extra residue or sanded wood, depending on where your board was being stored, or dust. Next, you will peel back the backing on the vinyl so that it is the sticky part. Once you have the backing removed, you want to make sure the vinyl is sticky side down, centering it on the board. If you are unsure about centering, you can always use a ruler to kind of find the center. And then once stuck on the board, you will use a straight edge, plastic straight edge, to make sure that it is secure and all of the edges are sealed on the vinyl. The final step for the vinyl stencil application is to slowly and patiently peel back the sticky vinyl backing so that the design is on your board. Now, as you can see, our design is in pink, but for us that won't matter because the vinyl at the end of the project will be peeled off. So this is a great way for kids to use their imagination. They can pick the stain color, they could pick the paint color. In the youth's kit, we just did a true white paint color, but this is where kids can get creative. Here is your vinyl attached. Sometimes you want to make sure to double check the vinyl, that all of the vinyl is sealed, because you don't want your paint to leak underneath the vinyl. because remember, this is being used as a stencil. Next up is the painting application. Supplies needed for this application is a foam or any type of paintbrush, paint, and we're using the paint right out of the can, or you could use some type of paint pan. You'll want to cover your space with a drop cloth to protect the table underneath. I recommend a plastic drop cloth as opposed to a cloth one, because the paint is wet and it may get in onto your surface yet. You'll want to paint your board, and you'll cover it right over top of the vinyl stencil, and you'll want to paint with the grain. And you can do lots of different ways to paint. You can paint to keep an edging, a dark edging. You could paint the edges. You could also use painter's tape on the edge to create a frame around the board. The kids can really get creative with this process. In the kit for the youth of Lyon County that signed up for the project, we had white paint, but if you were doing this project, you could use any type of paint that you wanted, that you had around, if you wanted to match something in a bedroom or a space that you were putting it in, an office. Good types of paint are, what we are using today is an interior paint that has primer already in it. You could use a chalk paint, and you'll want to apply 2 to 3 thin coats depending on coverage, waiting about an hour in between each coat. You'll want to wait 24 hours until paint is completely dry to the touch. With a straight edge razor, tweezers, or knife, and if you have a younger youth, have an adult assist with this step. Slowly lift the vinyl to reveal the design. Be slow and patient with this process to slowly peel away the vinyl from the board. Once you get a corner up, you can use your hands to kind of slowly peel it away, and you will see your design revealed beneath the paint. And there is your finished painted wall sign using a vinyl sticker, a vinyl application for your board. The painted wall sign is a great project to learn about home improvement or visual arts depending on your goal. Is the goal to create a piece to fill a space in your room, or is your goal to learn a new art technique like how to use a reverse stencil? Also learning about elements and principles of design in these areas. Reminder that if you are creating this project as an exhibit, you will want to think about your goals. What did you plan to learn or do? What steps did you take to learn this? What are the most important things you learned? These are all great things to think about as you plan your 4-H project learning. We hope you enjoyed participating and learned some great new skills and information.